If we want to become better and faster at learning, it helps to understand how people learn naturally from their experiences. We know that there's a natural cycle that people follow to learn, and by harnessing this effectively, we can get the best outcome from our learning experiences. David Kolb and later Peter Honey and Alan Mumford identified 4 stages that we need to go through to be effective learners. We can start learning at any of these stages and may have a preference for where we like to start, but to be really effective, we need to complete all 4 stages and repeat this until we have mastery. David Kolb and later Peter Honey and Alan Mumford identified 4 stages that we need to go through to be effective learners. Kolb called the 4 stages concrete experiences, which then form the basis for observation and reflections, which are then distilled into abstract conceptualizations, producing new implications for action, which can be actively tested, in turn creating new experiences. Honey and Mumford made it a bit easier to understand using do, review, conclude, and plan. So to complete effective learning, we do something and have an experience. We then review this with deep thought and hindsight, and we reflect on what happened. Then we conclude and develop wisdom and insight about what happened by considering why. Then we plan for the future and develop foresight. We decide how. So how does this work in practice? Well, let's imagine you want to make a cup of tea. You pop a tea bag in a cup and pour in water. That's the doing or the concrete experience. Then you taste the tea and you think it tastes awful. That's the observation and reflections. You conclude that you didn't make it properly and check the instructions. It says to make it with hot water and to leave to brew for 5 minutes. So you then plan to make a new cup. And then you try again with hot water. And so it goes round and around until we get a good cup of tea. David Kolb explained that different people naturally prefer a learning style. Peter Honey and Alan Mumford developed their learning style system, and we can use this to gain personal insight. If you prefer to learn by having an experience, your preferred learning style is activist. You will be friendly and outgoing. You will seek challenge and immediate experiences. You will be open-minded, but may be bored with implementation. If you prefer to learn by reviewing the experience, your preferred learning style is reflector. You like to stand back, gather data, ponder and analyse. You may delay reaching conclusions. You like to listen before speaking and are more thoughtful. If you prefer to learn by concluding from the experience, your preferred learning style is theorist. You like to think things through in logical steps. You will assimilate disparate facts into coherent theories. You are rationally objective and reject subjectivity and flippancy. If you prefer learning by planning the next steps, your preferred learning style is pragmatist. You like to seek out and try out new ideas. You are practical, down to earth and enjoy problem solving. You make quick decisions and get bored with long discussions. It is useful to know your learning preference to get a deeper understanding of what it is that drives your behaviour. But like all personality tests, with every yin there is a yang. As a reflector or theorist, your tendency will be to think rather than do. And as pragmatist or activist, your tendency will be to do rather than think. To learn effectively, we must balance thinking and doing. And for that reason, it is best to structure your learning to take time in each part of the learning cycle. We can see this working in real life after a trip to a shop like IKEA. We arrive home with a box of parts for a new shelf unit. The activist will be straight into the box and trying to put it together without reading the instructions, and will be left with 3 screws. 2 weeks later, their unit will fall apart. A reflector will sit down and look at the box for a long time, and will need to get used to the idea that there is new furniture before opening the box. 2 weeks later, it will still be in the box. A theorist will spend a long time reading the instructions, laying out the parts and counting the screws. 2 weeks later, they will still be waiting for the missing screw to be delivered. A pragmatist may be focused on where the new piece of furniture will go and how to move around the room to make it fit. 2 weeks later, they are still not talking to their partner because they can't agree where it will go. No learning style works well in isolation. Effective people use them all. Activists need time to read the instructions and count the parts. Theorists need to stop worrying about the one missing screw and get on with it. And so on. Our self-coaching model is based on the learning cycle and will give you a structure to help improve your learning experience. But first, it would be helpful to find out your underlying preference, which remember is a strength but also has its struggles.